So moving on, we're going to be talking about fantasy and esports because that's a thing that's really popping up a lot lately. There's the new Fantasy LCS League, there's the Fantasy Dota 2 League, and I really feel like this is an awesome trend that's happening, and it's made me more excited to watch tournaments that I might not have wanted to get as, far deep into. So what do you guys think about fantasy and esports?
I'm really excited, mainly because I sometimes get really busy like we all do and can't watch stuff, but because I have certain players on my team, I'm more incentivized to actually go watch stuff, and even if I don't watch it, I still get to see how they're doing week to week.
Yeah. So I didn't even know this was a thing until James brought it up, and James got us. What even is the league that we're signed up in?
So we're in
what's the tournament?
Fantasy LCS, which is made by Riot for LCS ign-arena, and it's like anything else. You just draft the players, has every single player in both leagues. And
in the same way that
it's very similar to if you play fantasy football, if you're a football fan, or fantasy baseball or basketball, or any traditional sport seems to have a fantasy league nowadays. You can play on ESPN or Yahoo or whatever, and they're awesome. And these fantasy apps, that at least the Fantasy LCS app, is exactly like the Fantasy Yahoo league that I would play, to do fantasy football in. It's like you were saying, it's got all the players, it has their stats, you play against other people each week, you join a league, it's really fun.
I was really impressed with the setup of it. We just went through yesterday and
it was super easy, it made sense.
20 minutes for 4 of us?
Yeah. And I mean, the setup they have is, it communicates to someone like me who, I'm just finally getting into the actual competitive side of of MOBAs exists. This is really interesting. But I don't actually watch or care that much about League. Yeah. But at the same time, they had a setup that kind of enticed me to go, ooh, who's this guy? Who's this team? Oh, this guy's really good in mid. I want to use him as my alt.
And they had really good write-ups, like a 1-paragraph blurb about each player and how aggressive they are, and what their role is, and
stats, how they compare to others within their role on other teams.
Yeah, and we also came in a week late, which is actually I think was a benefit for a lot of people, at least you guys, because if you hadn't watched it, you already had a week of stats to go off of for this split.
Yeah. I thought that was really smart. It shows their numbers and how many points each character or each player has gotten, week by week. So it was easy for you guys who don't know that much about League to sort of jump in. And I think that's great for anyone who is not super familiar with all the players and is like, oh crap, I can't play this because I don't know who the players are. It's like, no, it's not. Pick who's doing well and who you want to have on your team. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I have a couple of players. I have I'm a cutie pie. Who I don't think is the best player in the league, but I just really like him. So he's actually kind of good. But I picked him because I was like, I want him on my team.
Well, Mitch got Kevin.
Kevin, you're my boy, Kevin. Don't let me down.
I can run through at least. So this week, it's Leah and I.
We're playing.
We're playing, and then Brian and Mitch are playing. And it starts on Thursday, which is tomorrow, the 29th.
Correct.
We're going down.
Yeah, but so I'm just gonna go off our rosters real quick. I have Soaz, Meteos, Bjergsen, Vasily, Afromu, and Link, and then you can also pick a team.
Yeah, so your team is who gets the first Baron kill, or who gets the most tower kills, or each tower that your team gets, then you get a point, that type of thing. So it's broken down that way as well.
Yeah, because there aren't, in sports there's you get goals and assists, or there's RBIs and home runs, and all of that factors in. So those don't really exist in Dota. You have kills, and then you have, okay, what else can we do to get points? What about towers, and what about
at the scoreboard at the end? It's okay, kills, deaths, assists, last hits, XP per minute. But
that's really interesting that they're adding all these uniquely MOBA things to the fantasy draft.
Yeah, and that's how you get your points. So that's cool. So I want to tell people my team now.
Yeah. So you have Wicked, Amazing, Zhao Wei Zhao, Double Lift, Yellow Star, and High, and then you have LMQ as your team.
Indeed. My team is My Little Ponies.
Oh, yes.
For ourselves.
Oh.
My team is what?
We're going to decide them right now, but these people have great names. And
you mean our MOBA names?
Our MOBA names. Yeah, we need MOBA names. Leah's got one.
Fat Cat.
Tony.
Tony's really good.
I'm from Tony.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you're just picking another normal first name. David.
I mean,
Kevin.
It's Tony the Tiger, but all caps, but it's just Tony.
Yeah.
When I'm playing Tiny.
Good.
And then, so your guys' team, so you guys don't know much. Team Dog, I think you're Team Dog.
I'm Team Dog, yeah.
Team Dog.
You have Balls, Dexter, Xpeke, Reckles, Lemon Nation, Wild Turtle, and you have Alliance as your team. Mitch has Kevin.
Yes.
Cyanide, Froggen, Sneaky, N-Rated, and Candy Panda, and Cloud9.
Candy Panda! That's a really awesome name.
And so, like, yeah, going in this week, I think Lee and I are pretty much tied. Or I have 3 more points, estimated points.
Yeah.
And then you actually have a crazy advantage over Mitch.
Yeah, sorry, Mitch.
You have, I think a 15-point difference.
Oh my god!
But again, this is estimated, so they could totally
come
throw
on,
the game.
underdog victory.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I really love about fantasy sports and what is the same thing in fantasy sports as in this is that even if I don't like a certain team or a certain player, if I have that guy on my fantasy team, I love that guy and that team, and I want them to win so much. So it makes me watch and really care about games that I never would have cared about otherwise. And I think that's one of the greatest parts about the fantasy, like the fantasy LCS, fantasy Dota, fantasy in general, is it just makes me care more about the actual competition rather than just the teams who I'm personally a fan of.
And that's the big thing for me as somebody who doesn't really know a lot about this. Going into this now, like you just listed a bunch of players I've never heard of. By the end of this draft, I'm sure I will know these teams a lot better because I'm going to be invested in like checking that page. Okay, what did this guy do? Oh man, this guy was like annihilating guys this week. Like this guy's really good. That makes me want to know more about him.
Yeah, I think we're doing a Dota one as well. We're going to do it with a little bit wider of a pool outside of the podcast with a bunch of our friends, like Katie and so I think we'll talk about that as we do it. But right now, we'll check in. I think week by week, just maybe shortly.
See who wins.
Yeah.
See who wins and who doesn't win.
Bragging rights.
Why'd you look at me when you said who
doesn't win?
Oh no, because I don't know.
We'll just don't.
I didn't
we'll
mean
win
anything.
the Dota one.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I call Dendy.
I'll take Arteezy.
Have fun with that draft.
Yeah, that would be a fun draft. So, I mean, it's definitely not too late to get involved, I guess, is what we're saying with the fantasy.
Yes,
but we
totally.
all seem to be on board and like it and think it's a cool idea. Awesome. So if you want to hear more about LCS, League of Legends, all that good stuff, make sure to check out IGN Arena on YouTube at youtube.com/IGN Arena.